What's chattering, quizzical squirrels? Welcome back to Monkey Boys Toys, and welcome back to the item of seating furniture that is the sofa. Thanks very much for joining me again. Here's a cow dressed like Superman to look at. Now, this week I'd like to show you guys some figures that I've been collecting over the past year or so. I don't have many of them, but I've been waiting to pick them up on eBay as and when I can find ones for a reasonable price and in good condition. So without further ado, let's just remove Super Cow from the scene. And I'll bring in the figures, which are these. These are the Karate Kid figures by Remco, released in 1986. Now, as you can see, I have 3 of them here displayed in a see-through case, and this is my chosen way of displaying these to keep the dust off of their soft goods. But what I'll do is I'll open up this package and we'll have a look at each figure in turn. So bear with me and I'll grab the figures. Okay, so the first figure I'm going to show you today is this one, which is John Kreese, he of the amusing name, Mr. Kreese. Now, I picked this figure up very recently. Now, before you all shout at the screen, I'm aware that he doesn't have his jacket, or gi as it is called, and his belt. I wasn't able to pick this figure up complete for a sensible price, and I wasn't going to be paying the outrageous prices for one that was complete. So unfortunately, I don't have his gi or his belt, or indeed his accessories. Which is a shame, but I did want to get Kreese into the collection. I like his purple pants, yay, and I just thought he was a cool figure. I always preferred him to Johnny Lawrence as a bad guy, to be honest. I might pick a Johnny figure up at some point, but as you can see, I don't have any more room in my acrylic case for those for another figure, so I would have to buy a whole another 3 figures to display them in another case. But anyway, here's John Kreese, as I've said. Now, this figure did come with a chair accessory, I believe, a breakaway chair accessory, which was quite cool. I don't have that, unfortunately, but there we go. Here's John Kreese. Now, he's got a nice tattoo on his arm there. I wanted to get one where the tattoo was in good condition and hadn't been worn off, so that was fine. The only issue with this figure is that he's got a bit of a floppy leg. His standing leg is a bit floppy. He doesn't stand particularly well because he always wants to twist around and fall down in this direction. But other than that, the figure was in good condition, and I was happy to add this one to the collection. Now, this of course was released with all the other figures in 1986 by Remco, and it was a really fun toy line. Now, each of the figures had 3 action features. Tri-action features, if you like, and I'll just demonstrate those for you now. They were the same on all the figures. Firstly, they had a waist swivel, a spring-loaded waist swivel, much the same as the Motu figures. So they just sort of had this sort of action here. It only goes in one direction. It only spins to the character's right. It doesn't spin in the other direction. But they had this action so that you could so that you could do that, basically. So that was the first action feature. The next action feature that these figures had is if you lift the arm up, you'll see around here to the back there is a button on the back of the figure, and you just press that down and he delivers a karate chop. So we'll just show that again from the side. Hoya! So that was cool. And the third action feature was a similar feature, but it was for the leg. Now, in this position, the leg is in the potential position, and you press this lever at the back and his leg kicks. He does sort of silly kick. So that was there were the 3 action features that these figures had. Pretty cool actually to have all those action features in one figure. I thought they were quite interesting, and they were very fun to play with as a child. I remember a friend of mine had all the Karate Kid figures and most of the play sets, and we used to have great fun playing with those. As I say, I don't have the accessory that came with John Kreese, which was a breakaway chair. It was a very cool accessory. I don't have accessories for any of the figures, I'm afraid. But anyway, there we go. So there's John Kreese. Let's stand him up to the back, if I can get him to rest there. There he is. And then we'll bring in the second figure, which is Mr. Miyagi. Now again, this was produced in 1986. I do have his gi and his belt. As you can see, his belt has become a little bit discoloured. It was a slightly more vibrant blue than that, but I'm very happy to have this figure in the collection. Again, he's in great condition for his age, and he does work. Again, he's got the twist waist feature and the karate chop feature, and also the leg feature. The leg's a bit floppy now. It doesn't quite sort of kick out as wildly as it used to. But anyway, there's Mr. Miyagi. Not much more to be said about him, really. Obviously, having Mr. Miyagi is an essential if you're going to have a Karate Kid collection. Well, you could argue that they're all essential. I mean, I think there were only 6 figures made, or maybe 8, 6 or 8 figures made. They were released several different times with different clothing and different sort of paint apps, but yeah, there were only a very limited amount of characters that you could get in the line. But for me, Mr. Miyagi was obviously one that I wanted to get into the collection. Now, Mr. Miyagi came with, I think this version of him came with a breakaway pole, which wasn't particularly exciting, not the best accessory in the line. So I'm not too worried that I don't have that. But yeah, so there's Mr. Miyagi. Let's have a look at his face. He's got a couple of marks on him. He's got a bit of ink or something on his cheek there, but that's not too bad. And overall, I was very happy with the condition of him. And they look great on display. So yeah, there's Mr. Miyagi. Let's pop him here to the side of Kreese, and that brings us on to my final figure in my collection, certainly for the moment, and that is Daniel LaRusso, or Daniel-san, as he was called in the movie. And I believe the figure was also called Daniel-san. Not sure. Anyway, again, he has the same action features. He's got a twist waist there. His belt's come undone. I shall deal with that a bit later. And again, we've got the karate chop arm, which does still work. Hiya! And the foot, boing, which again is a bit weak. The legs did get quite weak over time. The spring that is used to kick the foot up is not quite strong enough for the weight of the leg. When the figures were new, they worked pretty fine. But yeah, there we go. My figure's belt has become sort of torn here, or the end of the belt is missing. It's become frayed and it's obviously snapped over time. The yin yang symbol or symbols on the chest of his gi are still present. They're not as vibrant as they might once have been, but they're both still there. So I was happy with the condition of that. Now, this version of the Daniel figure came with a breakaway ice accessory, which was very cool, and I would like to have that accessory, but I don't have it. But I would like to have it, but I don't have it. So never mind. But yeah, so there's the Daniel figure. Pretty cool. He's got his headband on there, tied around the back. We'll have a look at his face. There we go. In pretty good condition. Yeah, so these toys, I can't really do maths very well, but from 1986, they're sort of 40 odd years old nearly, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I was very happy to add these to the collection. As I say, I've been collecting them for about a year now. I was inspired to collect them by Dave over at Vintage Toy Rush, because I saw his collection, and it sort of triggered those nostalgic memories in me, and I decided to start picking them up on my own. As I say, I might get Johnny Lawrence. I'm not too worried about getting the other characters. I think there was Chosen, and there was another miscellaneous goon that I can't remember the name of. So I probably won't be picking Chosen or the other fella up. Possibly just Johnny, if I can find one. I'd prefer one in his white suit rather than the black suit. But we'll see in the future if I do manage to pick him up at a reasonable price. I'm going to be keeping my eyes open for a gi and a belt for Kreese at the back there, because I would like to get him clothed if possible. But I felt it was about time to get a third one into my collection after having just Daniel and Mr. Miyagi. They were both standing in that display case by themselves, and I felt they needed some sort of an antagonist to go with them. So did pick up Kreese. But yeah, so that's that's kind of it for this week, guys. Let's just pop Daniel-san over to the back there, and we'll wrap up the video. So if you did like the video, please do give it a thumbs up and share it with any other quizzical squirrels you may know. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and do leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of the 1986 Remco Karate Kid line. Did you have any of these figures growing up? Do you have any of them still? And would you like to send them to me? But yeah, so that's about it for this week. I'm going to make like a shepherd and get the flock out of here. See you next time. Bye.